10:30 p.m. Whist is not an easy game to pick up, and Von Arkham is a less than agreeable tutor. When he won, I suspected him of cheating. When I won, I suspected him of letting me win. After 5 hours of playing cards, I was becoming restless again. I've come below to the galley to fetch more kindling, and for a moment of solace to recollect myself. My nerves are fraying, but at least down here the footsteps are less audible. They haven't stopped moving about. They're tireless. 5.5 hours and they haven't stopped once, nor has their tread slackened. It has, however, become less wayward. They have begun to congregate around the quarterdeck. Perhaps there is some latent heat in its incinerated remains. Their silence is increasingly disconcerting. If they are polar bears, should they not growl or pant or claw at the deck? Should the meter of their gait not put me in mind of quadrupeds? I must quiet my thoughts, lest my mind snap completely like Pascal's. I have found Lumpy's secret reserve of homebrewed sour mash, that and a tin of beeswax to stop my ears, and Bromberg's revolver beneath my coat should grant me at least a few hours of sleep. There are only 5 rounds. The rest of the captain's bullets were lost when the quarterdeck caught fire. I suppose it doesn't matter. If things grow too grim to bear, I shall only require 1 bullet. January 23rd, 4 a.m. The precious sleep I found with the aid of the whiskey and wax was rudely interrupted after 3 hours. I felt myself being vigorously shaken, and awoke with a fright to the unpleasant sight of Von Arkham's manic face looming over mine. The madman was tugging my arm, saying something that I could not make out with my stopped ears. Shrugging my arm free of his grasp, I dug the beeswax from my ears. When they were clear again, it was not Von Arkham's words that I marked, but an emphatic clamor from behind him. I glanced past his incongruous hat, and saw to my dismay that the upper hatch was ajar, and violently jolting against the ropes that kept it from fully opening. I shot to my feet, and drew Bromberg's pistol, but Von Arkham, who had sauntered over to the lower companionway, beckoned me to follow him below deck. I did not hesitate, but raced after the madman, following him below to the hold. Searching about the unlit room for something to bar the door, I came across a rusty chain and iron pipe. With frantic haste, I shot back up the steps to the doors and threaded the chain around the latches and ran the pipe through 4 of the links. Quickly returning to the hold, I found Von Arkham waiting at the door with another longer iron pipe. As soon as I was inside, he shut and sealed the door and ran the pipe through the spokes of the lock wheel like a bolt. We waited in the darkness, listening intently to the commotion above. The clattering of the hatch on its hinges was still distinctly audible from the top deck. It continued vehemently for 5 minutes before we heard the rope snap. Then came the footsteps again. Lumbering, ungainly, they plodded down the ladder and into the berth deck. They've been ambling about for hours with the same lethargic pace as they first had topside. New surroundings. It must take time for them to reorient themselves. But they're progressing. They're intelligent. They had the cognitive wherewithal and persistence to force open the hatch. Will the chain I put on the doors to the hold be enough to keep them out? Von Arkham has found the other tin washing basin, and we have begun to break down the crates for firewood. After every plank snaps, I pause and listen for any change in the movement above us. But those things do not alter their tread. They are so horribly silent. If only one of them would utter some sound. A grunt, a scoff. If only one of them would sneeze or even hum to itself like Kovacs used to. They are not polar bears, of course they are not polar bears. What good will it do me to deny it now? I know what they are. I cannot imagine how, but I know what they are. We've cut off our access access to the galley. I have a few rations of hardtack in my pocket, but we will starve to death in less than a week. I doubt it will take that long, though. There is no ventilation in the hold, so we can't let the fire grow too hot. If it does, the smoke will suffocate us. Without it, we'll freeze to death. Starvation, suffocation, hypothermia. All more preferable ends than meeting those things prowling above us. 11 a.m. It didn't take them as long as I expected to find their way to the doors. I can hear the buffeting of their bodies on the wood and the rattling of the chain at the top of the ladder. It comes in increments, with a second's pause between each one as they batter against it again and again and again. Whether or not they possess the inhuman strength to snap the chain as they did the rope, I have no doubt that they will find a way through it. If they jostle the doors enough, the pipe is sure to fall out of the links. The hold door is 4 inches thick and sealed tight with a pipe through its wheel. But there are 13 of them. It's only a matter of time. The ineffectual heat of the basin fire requires us to lean in close for warmth, and Von Arkham's grin appears even more deranged in its glow. The shadows that his goggles and beard throw upon his face make him look hideously diabolical. I am beginning to fear him more than I fear them. Earlier he began snickering to himself and soon broke out into a fit of near-hysterical laughter. All but disgusted with the madman's sardonic mirth, I demanded to know what he found so amusing. The maniac looked me dead in the face and told me to imagine how foolish they must look, bashing into the doors all at once. I could not tell if he was taunting me, or if he honestly finds it funny. But it made me realize, this man, this mad-hatted creature, he is not merely insane, he is actually enjoying this. The peril, the chaos, it's all a joke to him. Our confinement, my overt apprehension, all just fodder for his obscene amusement. It is not enough that he has no regard for his own mortality. He must delight in the miserable awareness I have of mine. When I flinch at the chain rattling against the doors, the way my hand shakes as I write, he is entertained. He laughs. He will probably still be laughing when those ghouls have broken through the doors. When they wrench open the hold and find us, he'll still be whistling that blasted shanty tune. Perhaps I didn't survive the crash. Perhaps this is hell, and Von Arkham truly is the devil. And those things... Mickelson's sister was waiting to see him in Fairbanks. Atherton was saving up his pay so he and his wife could start a family. My shipmates, my staunch and valiant friends. This wasn't meant to be their last voyage. Not this gruesome destiny. The fire has gone out now. Von Arkham's lighter has run out of fluid, and I've run out of matches. I could search about the hold for some means of relighting it, but what would be the point? To eke out a few more hours just to meet a more horrible death. Better we should freeze in the dark. 3 p.m. The chain snapped 10 minutes ago. They've come down the ladder and are now hammering against the iron door of the hold. They must have all their hands on the exterior lock wheel because the interior wheel is beginning to twist against the pipe, which threatens to bend and to give way as it creaks. Von Arkham found a small arc lantern at the back of the hold, and in its dim violet phosphorescence I can see that his excitement is becoming increasingly brazen. He is all but bouncing in his seat, but I can bear that no heed now. Whatever monstrosity comes through that door will not end my life, for I shall end it myself before those things can lay hand or claw on me. If ever this blighted derelict is discovered, perhaps by searchers hired by Dr. Sutcliffe, I pray that it be found on the ocean floor. Let some errant warm wind thaw the ice, so that the sea may swallow it up once and for all. Let the Revenant and all of its unholy abominations be entombed forever beneath a glacial headstone. Better that their families believe that they all drowned when the ship went under than to learn of their true fate. Knowing that those unspeakable terrors will never meet another eye will give me some solace before I pull the trigger. That, and how Von Arkham will not long outlive me. The madman is still whistling that shanty, and I've only just recognized the tune. It is a century-old song called Storm Along John. I once sailed with an old tar from Boston who taught it to the crew. During bad weather he would sing the lines and the rest of us would sing the responses. These are the lines. Oh, Stormy's gone, that good old man. Oh, poor old Stormy's dead and gone. We dug his grave with a silver spade. His shroud of the finest silk was made. We lowered him with a silver chain, our eyes all damp with more than rain. He's moored at last and furled his sail. No danger now from wreck or gale. The pipe is beginning to bend. I am putting down this journal and taking up the gun. This is not how I pictured the end. But at least I am not on the other side of the door, like my shipmates.